do Pin Up Gang. Y'all already know Fruit
and PREE
is in the building. Y'all already know when we in the building. We shutting the building completely down. Now, y'all, we doing another style, another way today. And I'm super excited because this is something that we've never been a part of. But we're so grateful to be able to experience this and actually see this and hear these stories that we're about to hear today. And we want to spread light so that a lot of people can hear this. And I know a lot of people agree with this. And we couldn't help but bring this to you guys' attention because it's really going on. This is real life. A lot of people aren't talking about this, but we need to make sure that we spread light on this. Shout out to Free and Just for inviting us to this event.
We will hear some of these stories today, and the threat is real and it's ongoing. This session's legislature clarified that doctors would not be criminally prosecuted for performing an abortion within the tragically narrow medical emergency exception. The vast majority of pregnancies in the state of Texas must be carried to term, and anyone who does otherwise risks criminal prosecution for themselves and anyone who helps them. Lawmakers refused to repeal explicitly 1925 law that makes prosecution of pregnant women at least a possibility. I want to put this cruelty in a larger context. We've entered an era where our government no longer seeks to reflect the will of the people. A right that is overwhelmingly supported in a bipartisan fashion. Our state leadership conscripted our bodies to a cause that we don't share. There is nothing patriotic about increasing the fertility rate by force, particularly in a state that ranks near the bottom in every indicator for child well-being. There is nothing Christian or compassionate about withholding basic but life-saving medical treatment from a pregnant person. Is to choose a cause or a candidate and donate your time and your talent and your treasure and protect Texas women and Texas families and blaze a trail to a better future.
Being pregnant is inherently risky, but in Texas, it's become deadly. My name is Jessica, and I'm a mother of 2 young children living right here in Austin. I'm here today to speak up for those who feel they don't have a voice. I personally experienced the heartbreak of pregnancy loss. I was fortunate to receive compassionate, comprehensive reproductive health care here in Texas. At my 12-week scan, doctors discovered my fetus had no heartbeat and was non-viable. But the chilling truth is this: had a heartbeat been present, even if the fetus was deemed incompatible with life, my choices and care would have been drastically different. The outcome for my family and my future ability to have children could have been irrevocably harmed, all because I live in Texas under these restrictive laws. During a miscarriage, I almost bled out, feeling cold, dizzy, as I lost a significant amount of blood for hours. My husband had to carry me in for a standard life-saving procedure to stop the bleeding, and the same care provided during an abortion. I was fortunate to receive the care I needed, allowed me to go on to have healthy pregnancies. Yet, in Texas today, the critical care is not always guaranteed. This deeply personal experience exposed me to the profound risks we as women take with every pregnancy and every monthly cycle. Pregnancy demands that the unwavering support and expertise of doctors, nurses, midwives, doulas, to ensure every woman receives compassionate, comprehensive reproductive health care.
My name is Vanessa Fuentes, and I'm proud to serve as Austin's Mayor Pro Tem. 3 years ago, the Dobbs decision gutted Roe v. Wade and ushered in a wave of cruel, calculated attacks on reproductive health care, especially in states like Texas. And the consequences have been devastating. From delayed miscarriages to forced pregnancies, people across our state have been denied access to basic, essential health care. But in Austin, we still believe that reproductive rights are human rights. In fact, my colleagues and I passed a resolution. We were the first large city in this country reaffirming that reproductive rights are human rights. Woo! We've seen firsthand how state lawmakers continue to weaponize their power. Only weeks ago, they passed Senate Bill 3, a targeted attack on Austin's Reproductive Logistical Fund, a program I was proud to reestablish, which sought to support Austinites who now have to travel out of state to receive basic reproductive care. That was a direct attack on cities like Austin and San Antonio. So when we talk about how local electeds are on the front lines and we are passing policies to protect our communities, we then get state lawmakers who are asserting their overreach, abusive state preemption, and targeting programs like ours. This is disgraceful, and it goes beyond ending just a program. It attacks care, it criminalizes empathy, and it sends a shameful message that helping someone access essential health care is now a punishable offense. We are not backing down. Austin continues to stand strong with protections like the GRACE Act, which deprioritizes the criminalization of abortions. And we also double down on expanding access to fertility benefits for all city employees. We will still do everything we can at the local level to uphold our values, to support our people, and to make clear that the medical decisions belong to you and your doctor, and only you and your doctor. As we honor the communities who have faced the devastating effects of abortion bans across our country, we also remember that the fight is far from over. So to everyone here and beyond, in Austin, we will continue to do the right thing. We will continue to find ways to support reproductive health care, and we'll continue to stand true to our values.
Woo! My name is Jocelyn Sanchez. I'm the Policy and Advocacy Manager for Deeds Not Words. We are an organization in Texas that believes in galvanizing the power of young people through art, grassroots organizing, and policy making to create real and sustainable change. I actually happened to be at the Supreme Court steps when the Dobbs decision was made, alongside fellow Texans and folks from places like Amarillo that were fighting city ordinances that would ban travel to access abortion out of state. From representatives that are elected to represent our interests working against us in order to fulfill their political desires. Like Adriana Smith, who is fighting for her life, who cannot make her own decisions at this point, and who the government has stepped in to violate her and her decisions at this point. It is the reality that we are facing not only in the South, but across the United States because of the Dobbs decision. Women like Jocelyn Barnica, who waited almost 40 hours in the emergency room, lacking emergency care for her miscarriage that was happening, and ultimately she passed away. And we know she's not the only one to show that people are dying because of the state and the Dobbs decision and our lack to reproductive health care. Understood the harsh reality that we would come to face with when we would no longer have our access to abortion. This last legislative session, we were quite literally fighting for our lives and every right that we have to exist freely. Here we are again in a similar position. Women of almost two completely different generations having to go through the same fight. But again, with sorrow, we continue to dissent and continue to affirm our right to dissent from a government that is fighting against us, and continue to affirm that we have a right to our own bodies, a right to our own health care, and a right to live freely.
Thank you to Free and Just for inviting me here today to share my story again with the public. Public servants in Texas should be doing all they can to support and advocate for families, but they are not. What Texas Republicans have done by banning access to abortion is anti-children, it's anti-mother, and it's anti-families. When I was pregnant with my now 14-month-old son, I was initially pregnant with twins. One of them had a fatal anomaly, which made a hole in his heart so big that doctors told me that no ethical surgeon would ever operate. Our only choice was to reduce the risk to me and to my son was to have a reduction. But Texas Republicans had already decided that I would not get that care that would have absolutely protected me and the other healthy fetus. Instead, Texas Republicans forced me to find a new doctor out of state, make arrangements to travel there, and arrangements for my teen daughter, and endure a difficult procedure far from home that I should have been able to easily, safely, and quickly access in Texas. Texas Republicans are no doubt aware of circumstances like mine, but they did not legislate an exception into the law. Why? Because their laws are fundamentally about the control of women, not the protection of babies. What I went through underscores that Texas Republicans' intentions was in fact to not protect a real baby, now my 14-month-old son, but to put his life in danger, and mine too, and to risk me having a stillbirth or watching my baby die. That is absurd and is unacceptable, and it should be unacceptable to all Texans. We must do everything in our power to change these archaic laws that are literally killing women. In fact, we know of 3 women in Texas who have died because of Texas Republicans' laws, and we will keep saying their names, and we will keep telling their stories so that Republicans do not forget them, so that none of us forget them. Portia Dumesi, Jocelyn Barnica, and Nevaeh Crane. We will tell their and other stories that should not exist, with the hope that someday things will change. And maybe it won't change today or tomorrow, or even during our lifetimes. But at some point, women will stand at a press conference like this one, and instead of telling their harrowing stories of their loved ones lost, while marking the anniversary of when women were denied equal rights to men by the Supreme Court of the United States, they will finally be celebrating the overturning of dogs.
SB 8 went into effect on September 1st of 2021, and just a few weeks later, on October 5th, I found out my child was going to die. And soon his bones would begin breaking in my womb, and if he made it to birth, he would suffocate, his rib cage being too small to support life. But because of Texas law, I was denied the ability, the way his father and I felt was the most compassionate and aligned with our values. That is a decision that every family should have the right to make. Then, myself and so many other women have spent every day fighting. We have told our stories. We have walked in this building, and we have begged lawmakers to listen. But instead of protecting lives, we just spent an entire legislative session arguing over the wording in a bill that was supposed to reduce doctors' fear of prosecution in medical emergencies. We debated about a 1925 abortion ban that could be enforced now that Roe is gone. We fought, we begged, and we grasped for scraps just to make things not worse. But for women, where we live now determines our ability to survive pregnancy. This isn't about choice, it's about access. It's about a government deciding what health care you can get based on its own morality, not medical need. We are their constituents, and we aren't going anywhere.
It's Fruit and PREE, and as y'all seen here, we are at a press conference, free and just, to stop abortion bans. I feel like nobody should dictate for your medical needs. Women do go through problems. Sometimes it's complicated, and I feel like Texas just banned them from getting help is so cruel and unfair to their bodies and their lives. So I do advocate.
And just having that control,
Yes.
you know, like especially over something like this is your body,
Yes.
you know, experience, you know, just to hear these people and their stories and their point of view on everything. It was very, very deep, and I feel like it was such an amazing experience, and I wouldn't have traded it for anything in the world.